my take on what this message means overall so far is that yes, your vibration is rising. You kind of have no choice but to keep moving forward. Your vibration will continue to rise as long as you allow it, but also you have no choice. You have to because you were sent here on a mission. You are supposed to be a leader. And if you're not already owning, acknowledging, and stepping into that role, this is your nudge from God, from the universe, that it's time. This is the Energy Within podcast, all about accessing, nurturing, and building your energy and confidence so that you can get unstuck and design your life the way you want. My name is Carrie Jokala. I am your host. I am a Reiki master, a fitness instructor, a wife, a mom to 2 little boys, and this is episode 116. Before we jump in, I want to let you know that I am officially opening the signups for the challenge that I'm going to run in January. At the moment that I'm recording it, I have not yet come up with a title. But by the time you listen to this, there will be a title because the page is going to be ready the day that this episode launches. So I'll have a name then. We'll just call it the January challenge for right now. But it's 30 days of Reiki. So we're going to start January 2nd. And we are going to do mini, about 5-minute bite-sized Reiki sessions every day for the next 30 days from that point on. So every single day is going to focus on a different chakra. So 7 chakras, 7 days in the week, and we will repeat every week. So each experience could be a little different for you each time we come upon that chakra. It depends on what's coming up for you. So I'm going to also provide you with a journal so that you can detail whatever might come up for you during each of the sessions and see if you're getting something different each time or if the same thing keeps coming up, because that's each going to mean different things. We will get together for some card pulls. I'm going to try to get a schedule up where perhaps we can do that weekly. If not weekly, at least twice we'll get together for that. The daily Reiki will be in a separate Facebook group, so not the Energy Within group. It will be in a group created only for those of you who join the challenge. And you do not need to be present when I do the live because they might be super early in the morning. And I'm not going to do much talking in them either. I'll give you a little description each time. But if I'm doing them early in the morning, there will absolutely not be any talking. And I'll fill you in afterwards if I picked up on any visions or feelings or anything like that. Because again, if it's that early in the morning, the kids are still sleeping and I'm not risking waking them up. But I want to make sure that you get the Reiki session as soon as possible so that you can go back and do the replay when you have a chance that day. But here's the thing. Because it's such a long challenge, because I want to make sure that you are, if you're not there live, going back and doing the replay, and you are journaling and you are getting the absolute most out of this and hopefully seeing a transformation at the end. This is not a free challenge, but it's not expensive either. It is $22. That is it. So just a little something to make sure that you are more committed than you would be to a completely free challenge that a lot of us typically write off, especially if it's a longer challenge like this. I have not yet decided what. I'm sure one of the prizes will include a Reiki session, of course. But as far as anything else, I have not yet decided, but I do think there will be prizes because I want to hold you as accountable as possible. So make sure you go and sign up for that. The link will be in the show notes. It will also be in my Instagram bio. You can also find it inside the Energy Within Facebook group. You can just go to my website, carriejocala.com, and find it there. Make sure that you watch for the confirm your subscription email. And I'll also give you a little something that you can share to your Instagram or your Facebook and tag me and let everybody else know that you have joined this challenge. And I highly encourage you to invite your friends. And let's make this as big as we possibly can because I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. And I just think the more the merrier. So, especially when we get together on Zoom to do the card pulls. I don't think we should do that over Facebook. I think we should do that on Zoom. So, and it's 11:11 on the recording screen as I'm looking at this. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to take that as a good sign. So I sincerely hope that you join me for that. Thank you for listening to that. And here we go into the rest of the episode. So FYI, today is once again an episode where you might be able to hear the kids in the background. They're watching videos and playing games and eating snacks right now. But, you know, there might be some interruptions. So I appreciate you and I appreciate your grace. Today, I wanted to talk about raising your vibration, but from an angle we haven't looked at it before. I've mentioned in the past and done episodes about how to raise your vibration, what to do if you feel your vibration dipping, but we've never really talked about how do you know if your vibration is even rising, because it's one thing to do something that we all say and acknowledge will help you raise your vibration. And you know that you might feel a little happier or feel a little better when you do it. But how do you know that it's a true vibration raise versus just a little spike, if that makes sense? How do you know you're actually raising your frequency to a level where things are changing? How do you know if you've actually up-leveled rather than just making yourself feel good for a little bit? So I decided, I don't know that I'll do it every time, maybe I will, but I really like pulling a card in the beginning of the episode. And I do have to acknowledge my soul sister, Jess, of the Multifaceted Mama podcast, because she does this in her podcast. And I borrowed it from her, and I'm liking it more and more. So I feel like it's helpful to get a little more insight into the topic. So before I give you some of these signs to know whether or not your vibration is rising, I pulled a couple cards from the Work Your Light deck asking, what do my listeners need to know about raising their vibration? And the two cards that I pulled go so well together. The first one that popped out is Priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? And the second one is Sisterhood of the Rose. It says beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, teacher. And I'll read you the book explanations of those as well. But before we launch into that, my take on what this message means overall so far is that yes, your vibration is rising. You kind of have no choice but to keep moving forward. Your vibration will continue to rise as long as you allow it, but also you have no choice. You have to because you were sent here on a mission. You are supposed to be a leader. And if you're not already owning, acknowledging, and stepping into that role, this is your nudge from God, from the universe, that it's time. Even if you're only ready to take a baby step, it's time. So the Priestess card, the book's explanation is, the priestess is a teacher dedicated to service, freedom, and leadership. You don't need to have it all together to lead. In fact, it helps if you don't. No one wants a perfect angel who hasn't made any mistakes. Let life be your message. Don't underestimate the power of sharing your story. It's by hearing someone else's journey that we feel less alone. We realize that we're actually all in this thing called life together. Cue Prince. The difference between a follower and a leader is that the leader has the courage to go first. In stepping out, they shine a light on the path for others to venture forward to. Don't fret too much about trying to work out who is your tribe. Don't get stuck in age, income, hobbies, or occupation. The best way to discover your tribe is to look in the mirror. If you feel called to lead, chances are it is because at some point in your life you longed for someone to lead you. Your tribe are longing for exactly the same thing as you were and are, and might only be one step behind you. They might even be right alongside you. You don't need anyone's permission, just the courage to stand up. Embrace your struggles, the peaks, the troughs. You don't need to know the way. Just believe that there might be a different one. Your tribe is waiting for you. Step forward so they can find you. Which leads so well into Sisterhood of the Rose, which says, the Sisterhood of the Rose is a lineage of priestesses and mystics who devoted their lives to serving humanity and seeding light consciousness all over the earth. A cross-section of ancient lineages, it is the path of devotion and beauty. Walking this path means being devoted to seeing and creating beauty wherever you go. The rose symbolizes the heart and the sacred geometry of all life. You are being called to notice the beauty around you, particularly in nature, and hear the whispers of Mother Earth. You are being called to spend more time in nature, as all the ancient secrets live there. Mother Earth is constantly whispering. Spend time admiring her creations, and you will be rewarded with insight and grace. You are being called to take a little more time to both notice the beauty that exists all around you and contribute to the beauty of the world in your own way too. Every time you devote your time to creating beauty, you harmonize the planet a little more, and the shift in vibration can be felt. So by stepping up and leading, you will attract your people and simultaneously raise the vibration of the planet, which can only happen because your vibration is rising. So I'm not going to spend too much time going into what you can do to raise your vibration because I have covered that before. But in a nutshell, it's the things that make you happy. There are other things you can do, whether or not they make you happy, but they should make you happy. Things like meditation, energy work, specific, intentional, spiritual rituals and actions and so on that can help you along the way. But it can be something as simple as listening to a favorite song or taking a walk outside or just doing something that brings you back to center. And I just view it as the things that make you feel good, that make you feel happy. So, one of the first signs could be that in general, overall, you tend to feel happier. You feel more at peace. And on the same token, I want to acknowledge from a personal standpoint that it doesn't necessarily mean you're happy all the time. It doesn't mean you don't still have dips or moments of frustration and anger and sadness, but perhaps you don't get as riled up as quickly as you may have in the past with certain situations. Maybe you're able to view and respond to things differently. That leads to a more positive outcome. But I just really want to acknowledge that you can be frustrated and still be on that higher vibration. If you've reached that point, your vibration has risen, you can still be on that vibration even when you're frustrated. Because leading into the next one, you really do feel like you are seeing so many things with completely fresh eyes. And you will know when you're at that point. It's not a simple little, oh, I changed my mind on this one thing. Yeah, I think I might switch over here on this way of thought or this way of doing things in my life. it's where you realize certain things. And there's so many possibilities of what you could be viewing differently. So I'm not going to go into any kind of list, but you'll know if you're viewing things with fresh eyes. You will feel it because you will feel like someone like ripped the veil off of you basically and you need to readjust. It's like you can't unlearn or unsee what has now come into your awareness. And that also is where it kind of ties in with the feelings of frustration and maybe even anger and sadness, depending on what it is that you're viewing with fresh eyes. Maybe you now don't know who you are anymore. And that would be, a potential dark night of the soul or something like that, where you're really questioning everything from who you are to what life is about to what your purpose is, like seriously questioning. And you might even feel super alone, like you don't really have many people that you can talk to about it because they might not understand, or you might be worried that they'll just kind of brush it off and treat you like you're, not crazy, but a little crazy. So I hope that you have people in your life that you feel you can talk to when things like that come up. If not, come on into my group, The Energy Within, on Facebook, and we can talk about it there. But I do feel like from personal experience, every time you up level or change to a new level, however you want to describe it, a lot of the same things that you thought you had worked out will come up again. But you'll notice that you feel drawn to deal with them in a completely different way, ideally in a better way than you have in the past. So you dealt with it in the best way you could before, you got through it, you moved on. Now all of a sudden you've reached a new level and it comes up again. But now you have different questions and you have a different perspective, a different angle, and it could be because it's just a lesson for you to learn and you're going to have to keep moving through it until you reach the level where you're done with it. Kind of like a video game, I guess. Or it could be coming up because it's something that's meant to be a part of your purpose. And I think only you will know the answer to that. Another way to know that I have noticed from personal experience is your relationship with food and drink. And I'm not in any way trying to indicate that I don't eat some junky food more often than I should or than I'd like to admit. But my diet really isn't all that bad. But still, I've noticed that certain things where I wouldn't have minded taking a bite here and there or indulging a little bit, but certain things that I used to enjoy that definitely are not good for you foods, I'll take that first bite and it's like, bleh. Like it wasn't even worth that half a chew that I just took, where I want to spit it out. I barely chewed it. I didn't swallow it. It wasn't even worth it. Like, something as tiny as eating a couple bites of the chicken nuggets that JJ didn't want to finish. And in the past, it would have been like, these actually kind of taste kind of good. I like ranch. I dip them in ranch. And the last time I did, just like a few other foods that I've stolen a random bite of here and there, I took that bite and it wasn't even from a perspective of, oh, I'm trying to eat healthy, so I immediately regret that. It wasn't that at all, because I feel like that's a psychological thing, a willpower thing. But it was just an instant, like, this does not resonate with me. Therefore, it is not worth it. Like, my body was like, no, this is not going to serve us. We don't want it. We reject it. And same thing with alcohol. But truth be told, I've never been a big drinker in the first place. And I'm sure that not having been able to drink anything at all for a good handful of years between being pregnant and breastfeeding and then being pregnant again and then breastfeeding again, I'm sure that contributed. So I can't fully say that it's all from any kind of spiritual ascension or up-leveling or raising my vibration, but alcohol is one of the things that can lower your vibration. And I just do not like the feeling. So even like halfway through a glass of wine or even a couple sips in, I'm like, I'm not even enjoying this. Now, my Vin Glog, my mulled winter wine that I just got a bottle of for the first time in I don't even know how many years since I've had it. I enjoyed that entire glass. But on the whole, on average, I feel like my body treats things like this differently. And it's not good or bad, right or wrong. It's just how I'm experiencing it now. We're like, I'm not even looking forward to it. I would legitimately rather have a glass of water. Another way to know is that you just feel that hunger for learning more. So that kind of hunger, you are suddenly just researching and looking everywhere to learn everything you possibly can about the different topics that you feel drawn to. You want to learn so much more. And through that simple act of learning can help you see things from another perspective too, which will in turn help you raise your vibration. I did look up an article just to see how many of the things that I've experienced align with what other people may have put out there for similar topics. And a lot of them do. But I also scrolled across one, and one of the topics was increased interest in world events. And in my own spin on that, in my own experience, especially already knowing that I am an empath, I very easily absorb other people's energies. I have noticed that I feel like I feel probably a little more unintentionally than I should. I feel the energy of just what's going on around me in general. And maybe that means I need to get a little stronger in my protection practice so that I'm not taking on so much energy that isn't mine. But I also wonder if it's because that's part of my job, that I'm supposed to help transmute that energy for the greater good, as they would say, or for the highest good. So it's not for me that I'm necessarily seeking out the news or anything like that. I do my best to try to not avoid, that's the wrong word, but it's another thing that can bring your vibration down because there's so much negativity there. So while I don't think we should shield ourselves or ignore things, we also need to take care with how much of our energy we give to it. Because we can't all give all of our energy to everything. I think if there's something that calls to you, that resonates with you, you focus on that, you want to help with that, you jump in, you do what you can on whatever level you feel called to do things. And that way we have focused people doing the best good in certain situations, and then other people are focused doing their best work and giving their best energy and attention to what they feel drawn to. And that's how we cover it all versus trying to spread everybody out on every topic. It's just too much. It's just not possible. So on that note, don't feel bad about not being involved in something that someone else is highly involved in or tells you that you should be involved in, because it's probably part of our purpose. What topics and events and whatnot we feel called to do something about, to learn about, to be involved in on, again, whatever level that means for you. Another one listed was increased interest in helping others. So you're feeling that call to lead, like from that Priestess card, the Sisterhood of the Rose card. And whatever it is that you do, yes, absolutely, you can grow a business and make money with it. but you are beginning so from a place of pure service rather than just trying to figure out a hustle to make some money. Nothing wrong with that. But you know that you're in a different spot and you're on a new frequency when you can feel that genuine pull to do things from purely a place of service. And you can also acknowledge that it's perfectly acceptable to grow a business from that standpoint as well. One way that I look at it, because sometimes a lot of people, we have trouble allowing ourselves to charge our worth for what we want to do, or in some cases to even charge at all. And there's no right or wrong answer, but if you're not charging or you're undercharging out of fear or out of self-doubt or anything like that, one way that helps when I look at it is if this is what you want to do, and if you see yourself reaching a level where you're going to be so busy helping so many people, the only way you can get to that level is if this is what you do, which means you don't have time to go do something else to make money and then do this on the side if you want this to be what you do. Your time is valuable. Your skills are valuable. Your vibration is valuable. So I don't know if that helps you at all in that perspective, but it helps me. If the people who come to you for what you do expect you or want you to be able to do what you do for them, you need to get paid. So that's how I look at it. Another clue is that you feel more in touch with your intuition. I know lately especially, I have felt my crown and my third eye buzzing so much lately. And that's a sign for me that things are turning on. You know, the intuitive senses are coming more online. So if you're noticing that your intuition is talking to you more often, you feel like you're getting more downloads, more hits, you feel like you're more spot on with things lately, you're going with your gut and you're turning out to be right, you're probably up leveling. One pretty cool thing that happened lately, I don't know if you know the song That's the Way It Is by Celine Dion, but I remember really liking that song when it came out. I don't remember exactly when it's from. It's either late 90s or early 2000s. And I can't tell you the last time that I heard, listened to, or even thought about that song. And last week, one random night, I'm sure there was a logical train of thought from where I started to eventually getting to that song, but it was still really random. It was kind of an out of nowhere thing where I even surprised myself with like, I haven't listened to that song in forever. Like, it was really weird that it was popping into my head. And the very next morning, I'm going through stories on Instagram. I come across my soul sister Jess's stories, and she's got a slide that's a picture of her car radio and a little caption with it that says something about music helping to raise your vibration, something along those lines. And guess what song she was listening to? So if you're feeling a little more psychically or telepathically connected to somebody else, your vibration is rising. I feel like I'm either doing like a here's your sign or you might be a redneck kind of joke right there. Your vibration might be rising. And perhaps we'll wrap up with this one. Perhaps you just feel more connected to God, to the universe, to source, to spirit, whatever you call your higher power. You feel more connected. And I don't know that there's a way to describe it because it's just, I think, a feeling and a knowing. It's something completely internal, which is what a lot of this in the end is about, our soul's journey. So I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it. Take a screenshot, do a screen flow, post it to your social media, tag me, and let me know what you liked. I love hearing the feedback. It was so cool last week how much feedback I got on that episode. I hadn't even made the post yet about the episode, and I was already getting messages. So thank you for those messages. I appreciate it. If you are not already in the Energy Within Facebook group, please hop in. I jumped in recently to do some card pulls, and I'm going to be doing that a little more often, and hopefully some more Reiki. We're still working on JJ's bedtime, so because I prefer to do that at night. It's just easier once the kids are in bed, but it's just been so late lately, so I haven't even popped in for a surprise one. But I did have a moment to do some card pulls the other day. So if you missed it, I did do a card pull for the collective in the beginning, so there's still a message for you there too. If you want some help raising your vibration, removing those blockages, moving through stress, frustration, self-doubt, lack of confidence, anything like that, please consider booking a Reiki session. You can also do an oracle card reading, which will help to give you some clarity on what's going on, what you might need to focus on, what you might need to face up to and move through. You can find the links for everything in the bio. Don't forget to sign up for the January challenge, and I can't wait to run that. Invite your friends and let's make this thing huge. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you so much, as always, for listening, and I'll see you next time.